Hello, and welcome to the Resilient Lineage podcast, where we reflect on the past, anticipate the future, and discover what God is up to today. My name is Olivia.
And I'm Milo, and we are talking about the warrior mindset.
Yes.
What do you think of this series?
It's good. I mean, it's definitely a humbling one, to say the least.
Why is that?
Just first, these are disciplines, and Olivia with disciplines, I can take notes on disciplines all day. Like, yeah, we need more of that. And then I'm like, wait, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then I get out of it, and then there's consequences of that. So it's fun unpacking these, but it's a little humbling.
No, it is, and we're going to talk about that today. Like so if you are new to the series, we highly encourage that you go back and you listen to go back to us starting at episode 85. Where we talk about why are we even talking about this? This is a podcast where we talk about faith, family, military life, where we, how do we do this? I'm in the Navy. You've been a military kid. We've lived in a bunch of different places and the unique stressors and stuff. The warrior mindset is something that I was taught through the advanced warrior toughness training that I initially went through, and then I became an instructor for. And so we've applied it to this podcast because I personally believe that as believers, if anybody should understand how to be an effective warrior, it should be a Christian.
Yeah.
Somebody who understands that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood alone. Like there are other battles that we face spiritually. And so how can we take the lessons of what it means to be a warrior and sort of according to, now the Department of War, no longer the Department of Defense. How do we do that in a way that helps us live the life that Christ has called us to live? So go back to episode 85, where we talk about the need for the warrior mindset. Episode 86 is where we talk about the first phase of this, which is commitment.
Yeah.
What does it look like to commit ourselves to the life that God has for us? And then we talk about the importance of preparation. That was the last episode, which was like kind of of these, I think it's the least interesting one because it's the one we oftentimes want to blow through the fast. I need to prepare. But it's like the most
important, critical.
Well, I don't know if it's the most critical, but it's the one that has significant consequences if you don't prepare well.
Yeah, it has an impact on the future.
Yeah, massive impact on the future. Okay, so that's where we've been. If you've been listening or watching up to this point, great. If you haven't, go back. We highly encourage you. You can dive in, but it'll make more sense if you go back and listen to those episodes. Okay, so execution. Execution is doing the thing that you've prepared for. It's the practical expression of serving your commitments with honor. So this is, I've committed to being this person. I've committed to accomplishing these tasks. I've committed to this mission. I've made my preparations. And then now we're doing it. This is the fun part, I think. It's also like, this is where you're nervous,
This is where gears are moving. Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about reasons why people don't execute.
Just hop right in.
Yeah. Like they prepare, like maybe this is what I need to do. This is what's important. They made all the preparations. They've done all the research. They've gotten the right people around them. They've answered the 7 W's. Like they've done all the things.
But what keeps them
from executing? And so like what I hope you'll do is and even we'll talk about this, like where do we find ourselves in this? What keeps us from executing the things that we know we're supposed to be doing? One way to think about this in the Christian life is what keeps us from being obedient? Like keeps us from doing what we know God's told us to do. We've committed to it. We see how he's prepared us for it. We've prepared ourselves for it. Now what? Now what are we going to be doing? Okay, so first is this. Fear of failure or inadequacy. So many avoid execution due to anxiety about failing, not doing it perfectly, or being judged for imperfect results. Do you feel that? Do you sense that?
Yeah.
Do you?
Well, I think it's execution, depending on what it is, can be preventable. So I think if people don't think that there's a huge need for it, not necessarily out of failure, but if they just don't want to do it. But I don't know how to
Okay, well
describe.
maybe that's the next one. Maybe we'll go through these and then talk about them. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
First one, fear of failure or inadequacy.
Second one.
Lack of clarity or direction on what to do next. 3, waiting for ideal conditions.
Okay, well, explain these things too.
Oh, I thought you were just going to, and then.
So the second is lack of clarity or direction.
Right.
Obviously, you can tell we prepared really well to execute on these notes.
Yeah, right. Not me lying. We did.
Lack of clarity or direction on what to do next. So that's when plans are
too vague.
They're too vague or ambiguous, lead to confusion, overwhelm, and being overwhelmed and a sense of inaction. Okay, third.
3, waiting for ideal conditions, which is people often postpone action, awaiting more information. They think that there's a better time or more resources or feeling ready. Yeah.
Number 4, procrastination or low motivation, putting things off due to lack of motivation or energy, sometimes stemming from exhaustion or burnout.
5th, a lack of accountability, buy-in, or commitment. So absence or strong commitment to the plan, either individually or across a team, reduces follow-through.
Unforeseen obstacles or changing priorities. So this is when emergency, shifting work or family obligations, and unexpected disruptions lead to a person to abandon their plans.
And then 7th, poor communication or coordination. So failure to clearly communicate roles, timelines, or progress undermines plan execution, especially in groups and organizations.
Okay, so in light of all of that,
these are the things that prevent people from executing.
Yeah. What resonates with you?
Probably waiting for ideal conditions.
Oh, okay.
I think, which is funny because I feel like with the military, it's always not that. Like you kind of learn to not have that mentality.
Oh, okay. Why do you say that?
Well, because I feel like the military, you're constantly waiting on them. It could be with whatever. Currently, it's the VA. So it's like my ideal timeline would be everything would go on within a week, but it's the VA. So it's still going. We're still working through it.
Yeah.
But I think for me, being a girl, you're surrounded. This is a personal thing. You want me to get personal?
Yeah.
I'll get personal. This is like Olivia's dream, right? I've been wanting to do a study abroad I want to just go. I want to go to somewhere new, make somewhere, that's my place. When I think of that place, I'm like, that was a moment in my life where I was the only person in my family there at that time. I made something of that. So I was like, I need to do the study abroad because I didn't get that with college because I was going to be the kid that was going to go across the states, find a college, make that state my place. And then I moved 10 miles down the road. So I was like, we're going to do the study abroad. And then I get thought of the ideal time would be spring of 2027. And by then, I could be saving up for it. And, I'm I've been dating this guy, so maybe I could get engaged abroad. So it's all these things, right? That I just fantasize about. And then,
we're getting really honest.
We are getting brutally honest. And so then, I'm sitting in church one day and I just had this hunch. And I'm not, I don't want to say this was God, but it's one of those hunches where you're like, I should just apply now for the following spring. So that jacks up all my plans. Where then I'm like, okay, Lord, now I'm going to depend on you. So we're in the waiting season of seeing if I hear back from the study abroad.
Yeah.
So if you be praying for that. But it's one of those things where it's okay, all my expectations and desires are not saying they're not going to happen, but they're not happening the way I thought they would happen.
Yeah.
So
I've seen, and obviously this is not an exhaustive list of things that keep people from executing, but I think what I can point to all of these things in my life. At some point in time, these things kept me from executing. I mean, I'll give you a really practical example. Number 1, fear of failure or inadequacy. I did not want to do video with this podcast. Because I just knew the first handful of videos, and maybe we're still there, are not going to be any good. Do you know what I mean? We just would not do it well. And so, it's like, okay, well, I got to think this through and I got to think that through. And maybe we need to get this equipment. Maybe we should get that equipment. Like, do you know what I mean? Like there was all of this, maybe I do need to just prepare, getting stuck in the preparation sort of gravitational pull of always preparing, but never executing. And then if we were both kind of like, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm prepared for it to not be any good. In fact, we actually recorded a few episodes on video.
And they did not go there.
They didn't go good. And we did it in a way that was like, if it failed, we were okay. We were just going to do the audio. Yeah. So
we were playing with it. And then we got our rhythm.
Yeah.
And
then we figured
trial
it out.
And error.
Yeah. And
we got it.
And here we are. And you may be thinking like, man, you guys are crushing it. You're doing really good. Or you might be thinking like, yeah, you guys should keep trying. And even like poor communication or coordination, like that's one that I've had to learn to get much better at. And it's always one I'm constantly working at, because the things that I think are clear in my head aren't necessarily clear when I share them out loud. And one of the things I personally have to do is sort of like recalibrate expectations based upon how clearly were things communicated. And sometimes things are communicated very clearly, and it's just that I'm coming up short, or the people I'm working with are coming up short. Other times, it's not that anybody's coming up short, it's that we were unclear about what the coordination was going to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, hey, why isn't everybody here yet? Well, what time is it? It's 10 a.m. Did you tell everybody to be here at 10 a.m.? No. I just assumed everybody knew that. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, had this conversation with your brother one time. I'm like, you only know you're wrong. You only know you assumed in the context of failure. If when you succeed, you did not assume, you knew it. That's the attitude we take on. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we only talk about, well, I assumed in the context of things not going the way we thought they were going to go. And so then we don't think we live off of assumptions. We're like, well, I just know these things. And so it kind of can breed sort of a confidence that has a really, really thin floor that, a little bit more weight in your life, a little bit more responsibility, and you're going to fall through it. Because you have a veneer of assumptions that gave you a sense of confidence that you shouldn't have had. Yeah. So, I mean, I could go through all of these like personally.
And I could even go through like procrastination and low motivation. Some days I'm on top of it. I'm like, man, I had a really productive day. Let's keep this going. Next day I sleep in, and then I'm like, the day's ruined.
Yeah.
So I mean, all of these are relatable. Like
for me, waiting for ideal conditions, I can, like physical fitness, I'm really good at spiritual fitness and mental fitness. Physical fitness is always one that I've struggled to make a priority. And I very much slip into this waiting for ideal conditions. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, when my schedule can let me do this. Like right now, I'm kind of slipping into that. Like, well, I got this coming up and I got that coming up, and then we're going to be out of town for a few weeks, and then I'm going to be back. But when we get back, like the schedule is going to be much calmer, and I'll be able to like find a rhythm and get it into a routine, which is like, even as I'm saying that out loud, I'm like, yeah, but you also have this coming up and that other thing coming. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, I've got to figure out how to get through. I got to make that a priority. So I don't, I'm not waiting for ideal conditions.
Or even unforeseen obstacles and changing priorities. I'm in that season. So,
well, and I think some of it is like you're young enough that some of their unforeseen obstacles, because you don't have enough life experience.
Yeah.
I don't mean that it's like everybody's been there.
Right.
To be able to go, this is kind of how life.
This is kind of a priority.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is why people do that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, these are the things that keep people from executing on what they prepared for. So just real quick, fear of failure, inadequacy, lack of clarity or direction on what to do next, waiting for ideal conditions, procrastinating, and low motivation, lack of accountability, buy-in or commitment, unforeseen obstacles or changing priorities, and poor communication and coordination. Okay, so that's what keeps people from executing. We're going to kind of focus on the negative side of all this right now. Not negative, but like the realistic side, okay?
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I was thinking through is the things that are exposed when you execute. Because you're going from here's my commitment, here's the ideal, here's the mission, here's the thing we want to get done, here's the vision we're moving towards, right? Here's what that we've committed ourselves to. And then all the preparation, which is all this work and all this time and all this effort and relational collateral that's cashed in and the trust that you have to, have in others or they have to have in you. Okay, so you've spent all of that. Now as you execute, a bunch of stuff is going to get exposed. And I think this is one of the kind of hard realities that if you don't know this, it can be a difficult thing to go through. But if you know, no, this is normal. This is what happens when you commit to something that God is asking you to commit to. He's asking you to be obedient to, and you make the appropriate preparations. That this is kind of the normal process of what's going to take place. So the first one is this: you're going to realize what this actually costs you, not what you think it's going to cost you.
But it's revealed.
Yeah, but what it's actually going to cost you. I was recently talking to somebody who just finished their first, they're buying houses and flipping them. So they bought this house that needed a ton of work. It was just
fixer-upper.
It was a fixer-upper big time. So the first one they were buying. And they get in, and the house had smokers in it, so they got to deal with that smell. And so they did a bunch of stuff, and then they realized, man, the smell's not going away. Why isn't the smell going away? And they go, oh, we've got to replace the entire heating and ducting system because all that nicotine is in the system. And you could try to clean, but bringing in somebody to clean it versus just replacing it, and if you clean it, do they clean all of it? And is some of it still, so they're we're just going to replace it all. So that was a huge expense. So they get all of that done. And then they go man, what's that other smell in the house? They can't figure it out. Well, what had happened was the hot water heater had drained. And when they filled it back up, all the calcium that was in there had I don't know, there's some kind of weird chemical reaction that then was in the water that was coming out of the hot water heater. So then anytime the hot water was turned on, the house just had this god-awful smell. So then they had to replace the hot water heater. So, they could estimate what it was going to cost. Wow, this is what paint is going to be in flooring and fixtures and all of that kind of stuff. But there's going to be all of these unforeseen things that they just did not really think about until they got into actually doing it. That's when the actual cost is going to come up. And so as we were talking, I was like, well, how much of a contingency did you have saved up? And they're like, it's 10%, but it actually ended up being 15%. So moving forward, our rule of thumb is going to be 15% more. It just led to this whole conversation that when you're doing it, that's when you're going to realize, okay, when I was thinking through those 7 W's, here's what it is actually. Here's what the actual 7 W's are. Regardless of all the preparation I've done, this is what it's actually going to be.
That's good. Your second is your knowledge and skill gap. So that's also what's exposed in your execution. And you could I talked about this last episode, but you could apply that to see how well you prepared for your exam and your way of executing it. And it's okay, the percentage is literally the map of how much I prepared, which is equivalent to how much I know about this, so you can kind of work with it. But
yeah, and I think this is where humility is birthed.
No, it's birthed in all of these, Dad.
Well, but I think this is where it is unescapable.
Yeah,
because it's public. If you're really doing what the Lord calls you to do, there's times when He calls us to silence and solitude, right? And we're kind of away from everybody. But the great deal of our life is spent with others. And as I'm doing what God's called me to do, there will be this part where, oh, you're not very good at that. And it's not just I'm aware of that. others now see I'm not very good at that. And so that, the humility that comes with like, yep, I'm not. So that's just the reality of where I'm currently at. And I think that takes, that takes some, it's like your brother and I'm looking at it out the window here. When your brother and I were building the pergola that we built outside this summer, we were doing it and I realized, okay, I need to make it square, which to do that, you take a diagonal line. And as we were out there, it's like, all right, and we need to square it up. So we need to determine like if this diagonal line is the same as this diagonal, like it should be the same number. And as I'm saying it, I realize I don't know the formula for this. Now, a quick YouTube search
to find the diagonal line.
Yeah,
like
revealed,
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Yeah, revealed what the number should be. But I felt like an idiot. Do you know what I mean? Just like in that little moment. And then the temptation was to go, well, it's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it. Instead of going like, no, here's the thing I don't know. So I just look at your brother, who's all about math and formulas.
He's literally studying accounting.
He enjoys this sort of thing. And I was like, hey, buddy, how do we determine what square is? Like what this diagonal measurement should be. He's like, oh, I know what it should be. And then he pulls out his calculator and he's running the numbers. This should be X amount of inches. And we, feet or inches. And then we pulled it and, we were a few inches off. So we made our adjustments and we got it from there. But it was like that little, that little moment. We had done all the preparation, like we had purchased. I, gotten the plans. I actually drew the plans because I designed it myself, and then I bought all the lumber, and like we had all the preparation had been made. But even despite all of that, when I got out there, I was like, oh, there's still a bunch of stuff I haven't thought through. Okay, so the actual cost of your endeavor is going to be exposed. Your knowledge and skill gap is going to be exposed. Your weaknesses as a communicator are going to be exposed. You will realize that maybe you haven't communicated as well as you thought you did. That what the words coming out of your mouth were not as clear as you thought they were going to be.
Fourth is the strength of your commitments. Do you want to elaborate on that one?
Oh yeah, just like how committed are you to this? Because this is when it's hard. This is when it's not fun. Like when you're in the middle of it, going when is that moment you go, I regret starting all of this?
It's literally me going to the gym. I'm on my second rep. Nah, I'll just say I'll just do one rep today.
When I'm doing cardio, there's this. I have this 6-minute wall. Like whether I'm on the bike or I'm running or I'm on, the elliptical, like if I'm really going after it and I'm getting my heartbeat up to that, whatever that level is, like a level 2 or what, I can't remember what it's called. But like when I'm like, this is where I need to be for like a good cardio burn, I have this like 6.5 to 7 minute wall I hit that I go, I don't need to do this that much longer. You know what I mean? Like this is a little bit more painful than I wanted to. Which I feel like such a wuss saying that, or even having felt that. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I shouldn't have that.
Right.
But that's the reality, is that like, hey, doing this is going to expose how committed are you that I was going to be on the bike for 15 minutes or I was going to be on the elliptical for 30 minutes. And I'm 7 minutes into it and I'm like, I think I'm about done. Like, no. What did you commit to? What's the strength of that commitment?
And then last is the strength of your ideas.
Years ago, I got so many good nuggets from him. Reverend Max Morgan.
So you're a head pastor?
No, it was the father of my head pastor. So Max Morgan was an evangelist, and he would come speak to our church from time to time. And I distinctly remember there was this sermon where he was talking. I'm like, man, I was maybe like 12 years old when I heard this. And I remember him talking about how you need to be willing to let your ideas be beat up. Like if you've got a good idea, and I don't remember what the sermon was about, other than I just remember this particular thing. And he was talking about like if you've got an idea that is for God's kingdom, or like the idea that you feel like God's given you to live the life you're called to live, like it'll get beat up. Let it get beat up, because if it's from the Lord, it'll stay standing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about it failing or imploding on itself or giving up. The idea will stay standing. So as you're executing, you're going to realize, like, how strong of an idea is this? Or is this not a very strong idea? Regardless of the amount of preparation I put into it, and regardless of how brilliant I thought it was, like right now, I'm not going to go into all the details, but over the last few days, I've been talking about this idea I've had, and like, it was an idea that hit me at 3:00 in the morning. Like, I woke up out of a dead sleep, and like these 4 different areas I've been thinking about, like, just kind of all collided into this way of doing something that I'm really, really excited about right now.
I'm so excited, guys.
But I'm in the idea phase. That is all I'm in. And I'm doing a little bit of preparation as I'm doing some research, and I'm, kind of looking into some stuff. Last night I was bouncing the idea off some buddies of mine. I'm like, what do you think of this? Right?
Right.
I have not tested the strength of that idea. So there will come a time, if I keep going down this road and I feel like the Lord's given me a green light, I'm like, okay, now it's time to execute on this. That it's going to go from like, okay, how strong is this idea? Or is this not a very strong idea? And I've got to be okay with that. Do you know what I mean? Although I think it's a pretty strong idea.
Yeah, he's pretty passionate.
You got to admit, it's a pretty good idea.
It's such a dude thing.
It's a very guy thing.
Girls are like, oh.
Yeah.
And guys are like, that's what a real man does.
That's right.
This is what real warriors do.
Right now, I'm like 70% sure we'll be talking about this on the podcast at some point.
Just wait till like next week.
No, I got to let it simmer.
It could be by the end of this podcast, Dad. You might be inspired. He sips away.
Stand by. Okay.
Okay. Character traits that are developed when executed.
Okay, so just real quick. We've been kind of talking about like what keeps people from executing, and we've been talking about what's exposed when you execute, right? So this is kind of like ugh. But I want to be really clear. Like when you step forward, and we could go through all of these, we could point to biblical stories on all of these things.
Yeah.
Like there are stories of all of these things throughout the scripture. We're just like hitting the thematic wave tops of so many things that you see here in the scriptures, right? Okay. So what is the character that's developed? Like when I choose to execute, and I would argue that until you execute, so this is a character that isn't fully developed until you start doing the thing that God's put upon your heart.
Right.
Until you start
practicing doing it.
Yeah, honoring the commitments that you prepared to execute and now you're executing, right? So that first character that's developed when executing is diligence. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to want, right? So it's this idea, like part of diligence is, okay, getting clarity. What is it that we're committing to? Okay, got it. Locked in. That's what the mission is. That's what the vision is. This is where we're going. This is what we're trying to accomplish. And then here's all the things we got to do to prepare ourselves to get there. All of the preparations that have to be made. Okay, got it. Now it's time to execute, right? That happens, that diligence is, diligence is not developed when you're just thinking about nice things.
Right.
Or that costs you nothing.
Yeah. Or I'll plan to do this tomorrow.
Yeah.
And not right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, next.
Responsibility. Romans 14:12 says, so then each of us will give an account to God himself.
There will come a time when we all stand before the Lord.
Yeah. That's pretty dramatic. Like, that's like intense.
Yeah.
And then we're like, whoa. But then I feel like people don't know what to do with that reality.
I've always wondered, and I don't know if the scripture is clear on this. Like when that moment comes, when we stand before the Lord, is everybody watching?
Or is it just the two of us?
Yeah.
Whoa. I don't know.
Which if everybody's watching, then does that mean I'm waiting for my time before the Lord? And am I getting nervous?
Like,
am I getting
in
excited?
line?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, one of the things that's developed when you execute, like character-wise, is the character of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Am I being responsible? Because until you're doing the thing that you have prepared to do, like responsibility is not just in preparation. Responsibility is in the execution of what you prepared for, right? So if you, like, imagine if you've got a test, you did all the preparation, but you didn't show up for the test, you haven't executed on your responsibilities.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this responsibility piece then becomes, it doesn't matter how much you've prepared. Like when I was younger, I could go to before the teacher and say like, I did all the homework, but I forgot it on, our dining room table. And the teacher may look at me and go like, great, it's due today.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have it today. That's part of the homework, is it being due today.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you didn't do it. I'm not saying you didn't work hard on it. I'm not even saying it's not 100%. It may be perfectly right. But because you didn't do this part of it, you haven't been fully responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, third is perseverance. Galatians 6:9 says, let us not become weary doing good. For at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we will not give up.
Mm-hmm.
So perseverance is this, like, I'm going to keep executing. I'm going to keep doing this, even when, just like all the things that God exposed, even when this is costing me a little bit more than I thought, even when my knowledge and skill gap is revealed, even when my weaknesses as a communicator are being exposed, even when I've hit that 6 to 7 minute wall and I just kind of want to give up right now. Do you know what I mean? Even when I'm not as convinced this was a good idea as it is right now.
Right.
But I'm going to keep persevering. I'm going to keep pressing forward. I'm not going to give up.
Right.
That's a character trait that I think is only developed when you choose to execute.
Mm-hmm. And that, and then it's finding the right people to hold you accountable to that, because we are like I forget like what the term is, but like we can get out of stuff so easily if we don't think it's like affecting anyone else and it's like a personal goal. But like having accountability and walking through this with other people will like help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next is wisdom. Matthew 7:24 says, therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock.
Yeah. Wisdom is not that. Here's the difference between, I think some people think wise people just being wise is having like really good, thorough answers or ways of thinking about something. That's not what Jesus says here.
Yeah.
He says, if you hear my words and do them, you're like the wise man who built his house on the rock. Wise people do things. The question is, are they doing the thing that's appropriate, right? And this is the story of the
sand.
Yeah,
house.
building your house on the rock versus the sand, right? So wisdom isn't just this like, oh, I have all of these really great quotes, or I have all of this really creative way of articulating or expressing. That's not what wisdom is. Wisdom is the appropriate living out of these things. It's the doing of it. That's where wisdom is. And that's only going to be cultivated. You could read all the books, you could have all the scripture memorized, but until you're actually doing it, wisdom will not be cultivated in your life.
Right.
Okay, last.
Faith. It says, James 1:22 says, but the doers of the word be the doers of the word, not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. Where I think, practical example is, what did you hear on Sunday and are you doing it? Or what did you read in your devos and are you doing it? And we were talking about this because we were talking about your idea. And it was like, you could say going to the gym is great. You could say these are the things to do to like have a healthy body. But the question should be asking like, did you go to the gym?
Yeah. It's oftentimes like a lot of Bible studies are, who thinks going to the gym is important?
Me.
I do. You know, like
everyone raises their hands because it's like yeah.
Instead of asking the question, did you go to the gym this week?
No.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if you think it's important. Are you living as if it were important? That's the question, right? This isn't, I'm not giving away our idea.
Don't do it.
But it's not like so much of what I feel like people think the Christian life is about getting really good at Bible trivia. Jesus did not die on the cross so you could be really good at Bible trivia. Like that is not his interest. Mm-hmm. His interest is that he died on the cross to save your soul, to set you free so that you could live for his glory, love your neighbor well, and advance the kingdom. Like that. So executing well develops the faith that is required, which means there's going to be some measure of uncertainty in all of this.
Right.
For you to be the person that God's called you to be.
Mm-hmm.
As you do what he's called you to do. Because like, and they were, this is James, who's the half brother of Jesus is writing this, mm-hmm. right? And he's writing the early church, like in the 1st century BC. So the church hasn't been around very long, and he's already going, hey, time out. Let's not just hear all this stuff and go, amen, brother.
Right. Because that's a reality.
Do it.
Yeah.
Like, do the thing that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Yeah.
Are you doing it? That's the question. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the character traits that are developed when executing: diligence, responsibility, perseverance, wisdom, and faith. Mm-hmm. And again, we could like keep going on and on and on and on. But the idea is to kind of highlight, hey, here's some of the stuff that's the realities that exist when you execute. Okay. Wrapping up with some like really good news.
What you enjoy because you did what you prepared for.
Yeah.
Here's the fruit that you reaped.
Yeah. This is the good part.
This is the good part.
Yeah.
The day has come.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you read through this.
Okay.
Let's read the first one. Reduction
of stress created by uncertainty. Like, here's your fruit. Like, you don't have to be uncertain. You actually did it.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Your grade came back. You did a good job.
Yeah.
You've met the reality. Like, you've done it. Second, you have an improved focus and mood. Like, hey, that worked.
Yeah. And now I can focus on the next thing.
Right. Like, this has prepared me to do whatever God has called me to do next. Like, step 1 completed. Victory. Green check. Okay. Third, the confidence that comes by finishing something. I mean, you just built the pergola. Now everyone that comes over to our house is like, whoa, you and your son did a really good job at building that pergola. Then you're like, oh, like because I put in the effort and because I had to go to get the materials and because I spent all those hours waxing and, well, I don't know what you did.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously, if you said waxing.
Okay. Well, like I meant like putting stain on it that was like water repellent. And then like I thought of wax because it's water repellent.
Okay.
Well, it's waterproof.
Good job. Sort of redeemed yourself.
Kind of. You have a confidence that comes with that of you're proud of it. Not only like do other people recognize, hey, you did a really good job at this, but like you did it. Like God was able to help you through it.
Yeah.
And you were obedient.
And I almost broke my neck once.
Right. Hey, but there
was one moment when it's pretty high up. Yeah, and I was on an 8-foot ladder and the 8-foot ladder fell out from underneath me. I was dangling from the rafters.
Who saved you?
Nobody.
You jumped?
I had to like drop myself to the ground and hope I didn't break my ankles. Meanwhile, your mom's inside reading a book with the cat at her lap. And I come in, I'm like, hey, did you see that? She's like, see what? Anyway.
Right. You're like, I'm Superman.
I'm grateful that the Lord was watching over me.
Right.
My guardian angels were doing a little bit of overtime on that one.
Mm-hmm. And then last is the joy of making progress.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we've made it.
Yeah. And
like,
it's
there's growth.
And again,
this.
like the progress is with the pergolas, like we built it in a way. This is such a stupid illustration, but I think it's
or the
like it's a really, or even the shed. We built a shed as well, like for scratch built shed. Like, I'm so proud of this stuff.
It's a mini house. It literally feels like a house. I was like, Dad, you're like, if you were like Little House on the Prairie days, like you'd be building all kinds of stuff. And you're like, it's not the same. And I'm like, well, I think it is.
Yeah. But like the great thing is we've both sat out there underneath the pergola because we've got a roof on it. Mm-hmm. And so when it's raining, you're protected from the elements.
And it's clear, so it's like the sunlight still
comes through it. And so even if it's raining, because it can be plenty warm outside, you're enjoying, it's just like a really nice thing. And the joy of that, the joy of experiencing that. So when you execute on something, like this is the good stuff that comes along with it. If you're just stuck in the preparation mode, and go back and listen to that episode because we talked about some of the stuff that keeps people from executing, right. Like the stuff that gets in their way. Like what also happens with that is you don't get to enjoy all of these other things. Mm-hmm. Yes, all of that stuff is going to, the things that are going to be exposed will be exposed, but you're also going to be able to enjoy a bunch of this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think there's so many folks in their walk with the Lord that are sort of, there's not a confidence and boldness that they could be living with because they haven't fully executed what God has put on their path. Mm-hmm. They're coming up a little bit short because they're just hesitant from taking just those few extra steps and then being like fully resolved and fully committed to what God's called them to be and do. And I think if we will step into that, well, all of a sudden, I think there's some folks that are living with a tremendous amount of anxiety and stress that will just melt away because you're able to like, I'm doing what God's called me to do. I'm not wondering if I'm going to do it because I'm now doing it. And once you you get through that 6 to 7 minute mark, right? For me on the elliptical or the bike runner, once I get through that 6 or 7 minutes, then my body's like, oh, we're doing this? Okay, we'll do this. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm like, oh, now I'm feeling it. Now I'm feeling good. Now I'm feeling mighty. Now I'm feeling like, okay, I've got way more strength and capability than maybe what I thought I had. So reduction of stress, you'll have that improved focus, confidence that comes from finishing something, and then the joy of making progress. So execution, this is not as long as the other ones because the execution is like, do the thing. Yeah. Do the thing that you committed to, do the thing you've been preparing for, do the thing and do it well.
And efficiently. And yeah.
Yeah. We've got all this stuff.
In show notes.
Yeah, in the show notes. And so you can click that link. If you're listening on the podcast, you'll see a link to be able to get to this episode. We're on episode 88. You'll be able to get to that. And then if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see a link down in the show notes to get to our page, and you'll see all the show notes in our like a blog style format on our website where you can have access to all of this. We're super excited. I was talking with a bunch of people yesterday. We had a thing at our house, and they're like, "Hey, I've been listening to the podcast." I was like, "Oh, really? What do you like? Which one?" And they were telling me different episodes and things. And I was like, oh, well, what stood out to you? And like, what do you think we could do better? And they were giving me ideas. And it was just a really, really cool thing to hear from folks that we don't like physically interact with very much. But we had a chance to gather up a bunch of folks and celebrate with one another and break bread and enjoy each other's company. And so it was just really good to hear that feedback. So if you have any feedback for us, you can get a hold of us through Instagram or Facebook Messenger. You can email us, hello@thisresilientsoul.com. What else am I forgetting? Sign up for the newsletter. We're always, each week we push out the information about the podcast, so that lets us get those links directly to you so you can go on and listen to them. What else am I?
You can follow us.
Follow us on
our pages.
All the things. You've been posting consistently reels now. So if you see one of those reels, like it, share it, help us get the word out. We're super excited about other stuff we got coming up. We're really grateful to be able to do this, for able to spend this time with you. And we pray that you go with God
and be at peace.